Welcome back to our 64th episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Cami Baker from the Real Agents of Change. In this episode, Cami and I talk about why agents are missing out if they aren't involved in this massive, untapped market of charitable giving of real estate and how you can get involved for free. Cami also shares how agents can use this strategy to stand out against your competition, all while making a difference in the nonprofit world. We also talk about what agents can do to partner with financial planners and other professionals to help them grow their business and in return have them finding new clients for you. And Cami shares a super easy way to add value to your database simply by educating them on the benefits of charitable giving of real estate. And we talk about how to use charitable giving in your marketing to attract high net worth clients and also how to get your network to become ambassadors for you. Plus, we talk about a ton of other ideas that you can use to grow your geographic farm. So be sure to check out this episode, like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode with Cami. Welcome back to another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. I'm your host, Brian Smith. Today, we've got a great guest for you. It's Cami Baker. She's the founder of Real Agent of Change. So Cami, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here.
Well, I'm super happy to be here because you have a lot of real estate folks who need to know that charitable gifting of real estate is the secret real estate niche that's already funding nonprofits by $9 billion a year. Yet 99.9% of people have no clue that it is around. So my background is I was in real estate. I had my real estate license in New Hampshire. And I was on HGTV House Hunters. I was really assertive in my marketing as a real estate agent. I made thousands of phone calls and door knocking and expireds and for sale by owners and competing for listings and going to networking events with 8 other realtors in the room. So I really know what my real estate family wants. You know, we want to get paid a full commission. We don't want to compete. We just want to be a contribution. We want to be socially responsible. We want to get paid what we're worth, no matter where we are in the world. And also from real estate, I started doing antique car shows. I had a 64.5 Mustang convertible.
Nice, very nice.
And I started doing these car shows and giving all the money to local nonprofits in my area. So I learned by just grit and determination, by being a single newly sober mother when I first got my real estate license. I just learned to get in the trenches and fight for every dollar, and did a lot of it through being socially responsible and helping nonprofits in all transparency. In the beginning, it was just to build my business, but over time I learned, wow, social responsibility isn't just the right thing to do. It's the necessary thing to do in business, and it feels really good to do that. So I was able to bring my daughter with me to these different car shows and nonprofit events. And so I was able to build my business, making money, making a difference. And about 2 years ago, I went to a conference and I learned about charitable gifting of real estate, and it's a unicorn. It partners real estate and fundraising together. And I'm happy to share any questions that you have about that, and just let our friends know, yes, you can make a full commission. You can make money by helping people give real estate away.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's really something I'm passionate about as well. Is I'm a big believer in giving back to the community you serve, giving back to the people that help you grow your business. And there are different ways you can do that. And this is one tool that you can use in one way of really making an impact in the community, making an impact in lives of the people through charitable giving, and still tying it to your business. Because a lot of people, I find a lot of agents will separate the two, and they maybe do some charitable stuff, but they don't really have a way to tie that into real estate. And this is a way to really pull some causes together and help give back and really tie it together. So why don't you give just a brief description of kind of what it is you do, and then we'll dive in more, because not everyone's going to understand the concept of it, because it's new for a lot of people. So just give us the quick rundown of what it is, and then let's dive into how agents can be doing that.
Well, I love that you bring that up, that there are so many people out there who are philanthropic, are doing great things in the world. They're volunteering, they're showing up, they're buying raffle items and raffle tickets and all those things. And then they've got their business. And years ago, I was meeting so many people like that were either so philanthropic that their own business and their own family was struggling because they were putting all their time, money, and energy into volunteering and giving back.
Yeah.
Or there was also this group of people who wanted to be philanthropic, but for some reason in their mind, they felt like they weren't Bill Gates yet. So they were waiting until they reached a certain level before they started doing stuff. And I realized that I was doing it naturally. I was just naturally partnering for-profit and nonprofit to come together to make money, making a difference. So I had started teaching for-profit, nonprofit, Ronald McDonald, Make-A-Wish, biggest real estate companies, financial services companies, Main Street USA businesses, to partner and collaborate. And so that was like the filter that I was experiencing life through when I sat in that conference that day and I heard about this charitable gifting of real estate. So first of all, this is a United States-based tax code. 1917, United States said, hey, property owners, if you'll donate real estate to a legitimate 501c3, you get tax benefits like no capital gains tax and the ability to write off the appraised value as the basis for your tax deduction. And so it's been around for 100 years. I didn't invent that. I just saw like, this is so untapped. Yeah. So here's what I learned. I learned that number one, the reason that the average person's never heard of this is because there's 1.3 million nonprofits and 99.99% of them won't take real estate. They can, they could, but it's confusing. It's scary. They've heard horror stories. They've tried to do real estate and it went horribly wrong. And just a lot of, it costs money, money to take on real estate. So they just, you know, if you got $500 cash for a property worth $500,000, they'll take the cash 99.9% of the time. So if nonprofits won't take real estate, there's no point in teaching it to realtors. There's no point in offering it to our property owner friends because they won't take it. Second thing I learned was $9 billion a year is donated to nonprofit through gifts of real estate. It's only 2%, very, very tiny amount, but it is happening. And I interviewed tons of nonprofits and property donors and real estate agents who are part of the process. Come to find out, people are trying to donate real estate every day. So the third thing I learned was that what we need, the special secret sauce, is called a specialized nonprofit. So here's what it looks like, Ryan. You got a donor who loves their nonprofit. They say, I've got $1 million condo in Florida. Don't use it anymore. Could use the tax write-off. Want you to have it. And they say, no, thank you. So we have this thing in the middle, the bridge, the go-between, that is a specialized nonprofit that takes title, takes all the risk, pays off mortgages, puts on the roof, anything that needs to be done to the real estate, they take full responsibility. They, who are our partners, will hire a real estate agent at full commission to list and liquidate. 99% of these properties are not donated for their nonprofit to move into. They're donated anywhere in the country. This nonprofit could be in Washington State, but the condo's in Florida. Doesn't matter. So we're selling the property. We're listing a legacy listing so that we can liquidate it and give the nonprofit the cash. It's really that simple. You know, there are caveats. There needs to be enough equity that there's something to give the nonprofit. The property needs to be marketable, meaning we're not looking for contaminated property with bubbling radon coming out of the ground in the middle of nowhere. We're looking for real estate that can be sold to give the money to the nonprofit the donor wants to have it. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I know from my own personal experience. I'm in Canada, so it's the rules are a little bit different. But my neighbor, he had passed away, and he left his house to Children's Hospital, and they basically declined it and didn't take it, and they said they didn't want the money. And I was like shocked. I'm like, this is multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they just wouldn't take it, and then ended up selling it to a family member, and then they had to go through and kind of do a workaround. But it was like, who wouldn't take it? And the same thing with, there was a church here that had a parsonage that they were getting rid of, and they're trying to get rid of it, and it just made it more difficult. And I was blown away that there wasn't an easier process to give the funds and get that moved. So how can agents find out or get involved with something like this? Because obviously you said you've got the kind of the in-between group. How does the process work? So can you describe that a little bit more?
Sure. Well, thank you for bringing up those stories, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. There are generous people, and there's a whole genre of people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s right now that are thinking about retirement. They're planning for their time of passing. They're doing their estate planning. They don't have people. They don't have kids to leave property to. These are people that need our help. They need to know what to do with these properties. So thank you for bringing that up. So the Real Agents of Change is a group that kind of organically happened over the last year and a half. When I learned about this, I started talking to my real estate friends. I started talking to nonprofits about it, and we organically became known as the Real Agents of Change, and we call ourselves the R.A.O.C for short. Just makes it easier to say. So the R.A.O.C is an organic group of realtors, financial advisors, nonprofits, fundraisers, visionaries, community leaders who can see that the system is broken. So to your point, there's all these nonprofits who are being offered real estate and they can't take it. And Brian, they shouldn't. If that church took that piece of property, what if it did have radon or a bad roof? And what if they needed $50,000 because of a title issue, and just all the things that can happen, right? But when you can have a real estate team, what we call charitable real estate divisions, CRED, do you have your credibility? When you have a group like that, it's easy for the nonprofits and the realtors to not just accept real estate if it comes their way, but to proactively ask for, look for, ferret out, educate, and inform the community. Yes, our church can benefit from real estate. Yes, our real estate company can handle these transactions. Yes, we are charitable real estate specialists. We can help you. So for people to want to learn more about it, we are the only organization in the country and even in the world that is providing information, education, and certification to leverage real estate for real change. We have the certification program, Certified Charitable Real Estate Specialist, CCRES. And people come to our class. You can take the class for free, because we know that this is like, what? You're giving property away and you're paying a full commission? I don't get it. Why would that happen? So you come to the class for free. And if you want to get certified, you pay a couple $100, you take a test. Now you can use the emblem and you get put on our national database, so that when people are searching, they can find you.
That was going to be something I wanted to ask. Before I do that, I want to ask about the donation side of things. Are people doing this when they're alive, or is it after they pass away, or is there a stipulation on that then?
Absolutely, while you're alive. Our version of this is leave legacy now.
Right.
You've worked hard for that 3-family that you've owned for 30 years, for that strip mall that's now 70% vacant. You need to figure out what to do with it, for that raw piece of land, for your primary residence. Like, all of any kind of real estate qualifies, as long as it's not a timeshare,
right? And
as long as it is marketable, meaning that there's somebody that want to buy it in the next 1 to 2 months. Like, we're not looking for dog property people can't get rid of. And even if it is a piece of property that the donor can't currently get rid of because it needs a driveway and it needs a roof and it needs a coat of paint, that's okay. Our specialized nonprofit takes care of all that. They have the money. I've asked them, is there any limit to how much money you guys can put into a property? And they said, absolutely not. They said, if there's a $10 million office building and it's got a $3 million mortgage and it needs $1 million worth of work, That's $4 million out of pocket, but with the promise of over $5 million to the nonprofit world. They will pay off that $3 million mortgage. They will put $1 million worth of any kind of rehab that it needs, because they know that when the property closes, they'll recoup what they put into it, and they can give millions to the nonprofit world. So this is not about waiting until grandma dies and leaving the house to the church. This is about how can grandma actually see where her money is being spent. You know, the church is getting $500,000 from this donation. Awesome. Let her be there when they dedicate this place and this plaque in her name. Let her see it now.
That's awesome. So how do people then find out about this? Because that's, we just talked about that, is how are people connecting the dots? Because I find it's hard to be in that conversation before it happens or while it's happening. So how do people get connected in that whole process?
Through people like you, my friend. You reached out and you said, hey, would you like to be on the show? I've got lots of heart-centered, visionary real estate professionals that need to know that not only can they get paid a full commission to list and liquidate these donations, but they need to know so that they can educate their own marketplace. So what we're doing, Ryan, is we are spreading the word that charitable gifting of real estate is an option. It's an opportunity. And the way that I explain it, I just have to share an analogy. Let's not look at people as leads. Let's plant our seeds. And this is probably a great analogy for all the farms that you work and all the farms that everybody is working. Some seeds that we plant are like sweet peas. You plant the seeds, and within a couple of months, you got a bunch of sweet peas and you have a nice dinner. Some seeds are like pumpkin seeds. You plant the seed, it takes several months, but once you get that pumpkin, you eat for a whole season. And some seeds that we plant are like apple trees. And when you plant them, it takes years for the blossoms to come out. But when they do, you eat for a lifetime and for generations to come. So the way that we are spreading the word about this and letting people know, we have lots of different types of presentations. And whether it's 2 people or 100 people or 1,000 people in that presentation, there are people that right now say, oh my God, we've been trying to figure out what to do with that property out in the middle of Texas. We've been wondering what to do with grandma's house that got left to us 6 months. We want to help the Animal Rescue League. I love my veterans. You're telling me I can donate a property? So those people are like sweet peas right now. Right now, they're ready to do something. Then there are other people who say, wait a minute, what are the tax benefits? Why would people donate real estate? I don't understand. My board needs to hear about this. We've got to run it past our attorneys. That's okay. They're pumpkins. It's going to take them a few months to get it. And you know what? There are other people who say, you know what? We are going to implement this in our financial services company. We've always known that giving real estate is great for nonprofit and it's a great tax deduction. We just never knew a way to get the donor to the nonprofit.
Right.
And we never thought about creating an army of realtors around the country that we could partner with to educate and spread the word. Now, see, these are apple trees. It takes a little while to kind of put all the pieces together. But oh boy, now we're talking about thousands of financial advisors and thousands of realtors that are working all over the place together. And while they're waiting for those blossoms to bloom, they are making resources and relationships and revenue along the way, because this is an interesting conversation. It's a hot topic. No one in your industry, no one in your town, no one in your office knows about this yet. They will in the next 3 to 5 years. But right now, if you want to have a unique sales proposition that nobody else has, this is it, my friend.
And that's why I think it's such a big thing that you can use this for is to help stand out and to really differentiate yourself by doing this unlikely that there are very many people in your market that are doing something like this. So you can use this to use it in your advertising. You can use it to stand out. You can use it to prospect. You can use it to find new people and really give back to the community that you're serving. If you're already actively engaged in your community, in your farm area, that you are using resources to help donate and give back, this is just another thing you can add in, another tool for your tool chest that you can use and really make a difference. And I think that's a great way to help stand out and create value for everyone to do that. So when people do this, what kind of things are they getting as far as support? Because for some people, it sounds great and they go, okay, it's awesome. They take the training. What are they doing as far as getting the help behind to make sure that it goes together correctly and the deals aren't going sideways and they're adding more fuel to their fire?
I love this question because people will say, okay, so I took the class. I know what charitable gifting of real estate is. Now what? What's next? It's kind of like you go get your real estate license. You know, the day that we take the test for our real estate license, we can go out and do real estate.
Yep.
But it helps to have a broker close by that can answer our questions and show us how to do the contract and help us go farm an area or pick up the phone or let our people know, right?
Yep.
So great question. When people come to the Real Agents of Change and they sit in on this class, let's say they come in for free and they just sit in the class. We've got many presentations that are 30 minutes now to just give you the basic nuts and bolts.
Right.
But we also have this 3-hour on the third Tuesday of the month. Every month we do it live. We're also putting it in a evergreen where you can watch it anytime that you want, day or night. But if you come to the class, you spend the 3 hours and you decide you want to get certified and you pay the couple $100 and you're certified, what are you going to do with that? Well, just like getting your real estate license, what are you going to do with that? So we have a couple of other ways of helping them get out into the marketplace to promote. One of them we call the Legacy Launch Pad. You want to launch your legacy into your community. We got a whole library of emails, of social media posts. I'll do an interview with them on Zoom that we can use as a press release.
Nice.
They can schedule one of these mini presentations and invite their board from that nonprofit, the donors from the nonprofit, the realtors. We've got a lot of groups around the country. This one woman that has 375 realtors in 13 offices in this one state.
Yep.
Like she dominates the whole state. She took the class and got certified. And now we're going to be putting together a process like this so that her whole state, and we've created National List a Legacy Listing Month for the month of April. And it's all about awareness raising. Real estate is hot, fundraising is not. How about having some awareness raisers along with, everybody loves a good fundraiser. We love to go play golf and we want to go to the gala and sure, let's do a shake and bake sale. But what about actually getting funded from gifts of real estate that didn't require a fundraiser? It didn't require 3 to 6 months of planning and committee meetings and putting together flyers and selling tickets and all those things that could end up getting canceled anyway. What if we did awareness raising campaigns just to invite people to come learn, hey, you can actually give smarter from your wealth bucket of real estate. Did you know less than 3%? Now, this is in the United States, but I'm sure that this is the same way in most countries. Less than 3% of our wealth is in cash. Yeah. But 43% of our wealth is in real estate. So all the nonprofits who have their hand out for cash are trying to get a piece of the 3%. And we're saying, what if you actually were dipping into the 43% wealth bucket as opposed to the 3% cash reserves?
So I've got some more specific questions of the process too. So bear with me as I don't know all the details. What's the difference between someone donating the property directly versus selling the property and then taking the cash and selling it? Why would someone choose to do that over selling the property and liquidating it and then just handing over the cash?
Well, let's say, for example, that it's a property valued at $600,000.
Yep.
And every property is going to have different numbers, but I'm just giving you an idea.
Yep.
So if this $600,000 property is an investment property and there's capital gains that would be paid, we need to know what did they pay for it, how much appreciation, and what is their tax consequences, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But we can assume that if it's a $600,000 piece of property, there's at least $175,000 going to capital gains tax.
Yep.
If not $250,000. Let's call it 175 to be conservative. So if that person sells that property and gives the proceeds to the nonprofit, right off the bat, there's 175,000 that went to Uncle Sam instead of the nonprofit.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
The other thing is, if that property is appraised at 600,000 and the person doesn't take any cash, they don't want their basis back, they don't have a mortgage to pay off, just 600,000 straight donation, then that full appraised value is coming off of their adjusted gross income. So there's 600,000 less income that they're paying tax on.
Right.
Which is another 175 to 250,000 in their pocket that doesn't go to the government. Now, I am not a tax accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. You need to meet with your own advisors. I'm giving you ideas. So we show in the class an example actually of a property that's valued at 600,000. And because of everything I just shared, plus the real estate agent getting their full commission and other things, that property is valued at 875,000 when you realize that all the proceeds are going to the nonprofit.
Right.
No money's going to Uncle Sam's. The donor is getting about $200,000 benefit that they're not paying in taxes because of the write-off. So there's all of those things.
Yep.
So when someone says, well, we're going to sell the property and give the proceeds to the nonprofit, you can do that, but there's a couple $100,000 just right off the top that they're not going to get because of that.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and that's for people to realize. Like, it's, if you're trying to make an impact, obviously, if you're leaving the money, either you want to leave an impact, not just for your tax purposes, but you're trying to make an impact. So if you can leave them more money, that makes a difference. Does it have to be the entire value of the property if they're leaving it, or can they leave a percentage?
It doesn't. Good question. So let's talk about that $600,000 piece of property. What if it has a $200,000 mortgage that needs to be paid off, and the seller says, or the donor says, I love my church. I can't really take a full $600,000 write-off. I need to pay off a mortgage. I'd like to get a little bit of cash to buy replacement insurance for my kids. That $200,000 mortgage gets paid off. They can get $100,000 cash. So in other words, there's $300,000 of the value that came off the top, but now the remainder of the proceeds can go to the nonprofit. Right. So there's lots of ways to play with this, and our partners, our specialized nonprofit, they handle all of the nitty gritty of all the numbers. And I appreciate your questions, and everybody wants to talk about all that part. Our goal as the Real Agents of Change are to simply let people know that this is an option. Right. It's one that you haven't been aware of. We're making you aware of it. But to take it to a bigger picture, specialized nonprofits going to handle all the nitty gritty stuff. Let's talk about how we can actually leverage this. Let's talk about how we can build our business. And nonprofits are businesses too. So whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, to be having the conversation about charitable gifting of real estate in your community, in your media, getting interviewed about it, being seen as the expert, being the nonprofit who's letting the community know that you can benefit from real estate. Any and all nonprofits can, but you're smart enough to let people know. So guess who's going to get the donations? And if you as a real estate agent or company become the go-to charitable real estate division, the marketing from being socially responsible will bring you more business than just the donations and the tax deductions to the donor, you know?
So then how are agents using this to grow themselves? Because I can see the opportunity in that, you get the support in doing that, but how are agents right now in real life applying this to get more business and to grow themselves? Because at the end of the day, we're in this to make some money too. So how are they leveraging instead of just getting that one-off deal here and there?
For sure. So what a great way. So I'll give you a few examples. What a great way for you as a real estate agent to get in touch with your past clients. So we teach our real agents of change. Look, the first people that you need to let know about charitable gifting of real estate are the people you already know.
Yeah.
And you've got 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 or 5,000 past clients. You've been a real estate agent for 10, 15 years. We all know that we should be touching base with them. We should be following up with them. We should be calling them, but no one wants to have that, hey, Bill, you and Mary bought a house 2 years ago. Just wanted to check in. How's the puppy? Hey, listen, who do you know that wants to buy or sell right now? We don't want to have that conversation. Bill doesn't want to receive it. But the real agents of change are leveraging this as a reason to reach out. Hey, Bill, listen, I want to hear about you and Mary and everything, but here's the thing. I just became a charitable real estate specialist, and I have learned that nonprofit, that veterans group that you love, and Mary loves the animal group, just want to let you guys know, gifts of real estate are a way to benefit them. We're actually hosting a little mini presentation on Zoom, teach people how they can give smarter, teach nonprofits that they can actually grow at 6 times the rate. Just wanted to throw out the invite. You're going to be getting an email from me, but just wanted to reach out. So as an example, it's a great way to pick up the phone, to touch base with your current clientele and past clientele. Yep. That's not icky or salesy, that doesn't lead to, hey, who do you know kind of a thing.
Yep.
And a third of these calls, this has always been the way it was. Even when I was in real estate, long before I knew about charitable gifting of real estate, I'd call people about the car show and how we were donating money to rescue horses. And we were talking about something socially responsible. And a third of the calls always turn around to, Cami, love what you're doing with the horses. That's great. What can we get for our house right now? We've been watching the news.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing for the real agents of change now. Love that you're doing that. Can't make it to that Zoom, but my brother's moving to town and he needs an agent. Or, you know, my nonprofit needs to learn about that. And think about it. Every nonprofit has volunteers and staff and followers and supporters, and every one of them needs an agent. Yep. For buying and selling and investing and first-time home buyer seminars and blah, blah, blah. So it's a matter of really thinking, how can I leverage this? How can I do a Facebook Live as a real estate agent that's not talking about my listing, not talking about what's going on in the market that everybody already knows, but talking about charitable gifts of real estate? And here's an example of another house in California that was donated. The value is $1.8 million. And once this specialized nonprofit did the transaction and expenses happened, $1.6 million went to the nonprofit world.
Yeah. So
sharing these stories and educating people, that's how they're building their business, by being seen as not just supporting the veterans or just supporting the animals or just stopping human trafficking, all of it. You can represent all the nonprofits. You can help 100 of them in your community, not from coming out of your pocket, but actually putting money in your pocket by giving them hundreds of thousands. The average donation is $550,000 from one donation of real estate. It's a fact. It's happening at $9 billion a year. If you look at the average as being 550,000, commercial, the average is 900,000. That translates into 18,000 donations a year.
I was just doing the math to see what that was. I was literally pulling out a calculator to see how many. That's a lot of opportunities that we don't think about.
Well,
that could be there.
And to break it down even easier to swallow, because we pulled out the calculator a couple of weeks ago. That's 24,600,000 a day.
Wow.
That's going to nonprofit. That's 44 closings and 44 new listings.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
And that, my friend, is only right now when it's 2%. Experts say that 43% wealth in real estate, if people really knew that they had this option, the 2% will go to 6.5 lousy percent, but 6.5% is going to translate into 29 billion a year.
Yeah.
So we are helping the real estate agents and the nonprofits themselves. We're here. We can take real estate.
Yeah.
We are your charitable real estate division. Because when you look at billions of dollars, our goal as the Real Agents of Change is to have $1 billion a year flow to nonprofits through gifts of real estate. 1 billion is 50 million in commission.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a big opportunity. And I think the other, like you were just talking about, is going directly to the nonprofits themselves and getting in front of them. Because one of the things I teach all the time, I call it one-to-many approach. And you should be looking at how can I get in front of other people's audiences? How can I get, instead of trying to sell yourself one person at a time, one client at a time, if I can position myself as the ambassador for that organization, and they, like you said, they've got volunteers, they got people that work with them, you can, excuse me, now open the doors to more opportunities instead of just the charitable giving. It's, they have, like I said, they have friends, family, people that are looking to make a move as well. And that's a huge opportunity if we learn to leverage that correctly. And this is a great way to do that and to stand out. Instead of just knocking on their door, asking if they know someone who's making a move, you're positioning yourself as someone who cares about them and looking for ways to help them. It may not turn into a transaction for them, but at least you're creating opportunity for them to know and find out about it. And then they may now try to find opportunities for you because they may hear through their grapevine of someone in their organization that has a house to sell, that or might want to donate, and it's a great opportunity. So how are you seeing agents then really use that? Like, obviously they're trying to connect with their people. Are they using it in their marketing? Are they using it, like, how are they using it to get the word out to the general public other than just the people they know?
I'm getting ready to blow your mind wide open. 65% of the 9 billion currently, 65% of that is instigated by a financial advisor. Why? Because financial advisors are the ones who have the clients who either want to be more philanthropic,
yep,
or need a tax deduction, or
yep,
both. So the financial advisors are the ones that bring this up the most. Now, right, those financial advisors have always known this was a great tax deduction and a great way to be philanthropic, but they too have hit the wall of the church saying, we don't take real estate.
right.
Our veterans group can't handle it. Soup kitchen? You think we're going to take a piece of property 3 states away? What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
So they have not been leveraging this the way that they could. Mm-hmm. But when the real estate agent, so I need everybody to take your blinders off that you've had on your whole career. Here's what it usually looks like. Real estate agent, financial advisor. They go, well, they might do it on Zoom now. Good old days, we'd go sit at Panera's or a coffee shop. We'd spend an hour talking about our kids and everything. And we would decide, I'm going to send you business and you're going to send me business. You're my realtor and you're my financial advisor. Yay. And if you get 1 deal a year or 2, that's pretty impressive. Really, It is. But here's the thing. As a real agent of change, if you're a real estate agent, we teach you, you don't have to go buddy up for an hour and promise to send them a referral. What if you are opening up their ability to become charitable real estate specialists? What if they were able to attract high net worth individuals, those with multiple properties, nonprofits, all the people in the nonprofits? Financial advisor can build their business from this too. So right. Real agent of change realtor could get in front of 10, 50, 100 financial advisors and say, hey, you've always known this was a great tax advantage. Yeah. We have a way for any of your clients to get the money from these donations that they want to the nonprofit they love We're going to partner together, teach them, inform them, let them know that this is an option. So instead of, hey, I'll send you a client, we're actually teaching them how to ferret out their own clients and attract more clients of their own. So yes, we want to go talk to nonprofits. And of course, we want to inform them. But we want to know nonprofits have boards and approvals, and they are the slowest to do anything. So when we're out planting our seeds, plant the seed and know that it's going to take years for that apple tree to grow, called a nonprofit. But when you plant the seed over here with the financial advisor, you're going to have a meal pretty quick.
Yeah, that's great.
They move.
Awesome. That's awesome. So obviously this is a great benefit to everyone involved. What is the from the agent's perspective, the nonprofit middle company, I forget what you said it's called, the
specialized nonprofit,
what is their role and how does it work for them? Like what's in it for them to do that?
I'm dangling the little carrot without saying the name of the specialized nonprofit, because I want people to come to us and let us help them, because there's a difference between being reactive and proactive. Reactive says, oh, I know about charitable real estate. If it ever comes up, I'll react to it and bring them to the specialized nonprofit. Proactive means, wow, I do have marketing material. I do have a presentation to invite them to. I do have a plethora of social media and all kinds of strategies to actually proactively look for donations, right? So specialized nonprofit, the one that we leverage way back 2 years ago when I learned about this, I interviewed 6 and they were hard to find at the time.
I'd imagine.
But when I found them, there's one that a lot of people know of, huge national campaign. You can donate cars and you can donate real estate. When you do, for this particular group, the donor gets the tax incentives, but they don't get to choose the nonprofit the proceeds go to. That nonprofit keeps 100% because they're brilliant in leveraging donations of cars and real estate to fund their own nonprofit. Praise God for them. How smart that is. Just know you're going to get a tax benefit, but your church is not going to benefit. And your local soup kitchen is not going to benefit, right? There were some that I talked to who would say, well, we'll only keep 30% and you can donate your 70% to this list of 6 that we're partnered with. Here's an animal group. Here's a veteran group. In other words, they had the nonprofits that you could donate to. That wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for me. I wanted a specialized nonprofit who said, we love them all. We want that real estate agent in backwoods, Idaho, all the way to downtown Brooklyn to know whoever they love can benefit from working with that realtor. So the specialized nonprofit that we chose works with all 1.3 million nonprofits. As long as it's a 501c3, they will. Number 2, they keep the least amount. So somebody's got to get paid to do this. They don't do it for free. They're a specialized nonprofit. Nonprofit means they work off donations. They don't get a fee up front. They get a piece of the pie. So that $1 million condo, the real estate agent's going to get a full commission off the $1 million. But if the proceeds are $500,000, that's what the specialized nonprofit gets a percentage of. They get between 2 and 10% of the proceeds. Their average has been 5.9% this year that they've kept. So nonprofits nationwide need to know they can get at least 90, if not 95 or 98% of the proceeds from the donation that's made on their behalf. And the other thing I like about this specialized nonprofit, they said to me, I told them, I don't want to bring you 10 deals or 100. I said, there's 2 million realtors in the United States alone. Let's certify 1% to know how this works so that they bring it to their neighborhoods and their communities and their causes that they're passionate about. And they said, Cami, tell your real estate friends we pay a full commission. There's no negotiating. There's no
Yep.
nickel and diming. They
That's
get a
great.
full commission. So that's why we love this specialized nonprofit. So here's what it looks like. Donor wants to donate real estate. We have them fill out an evaluation form. How much do you owe on it? Do you want any money back? Where is it? What's the address? What do you think it's worth? All the basic stuff. And the most important question, Ryan, is what are your intentions?
Right.
Why do you want to learn if this property qualifies? Because 80% of the donations our team does are strictly for altruistic reasons. They're a veteran and they love veterans.
Yep.
They want to help. There are those few who will say, well, we want to get $1 million appraisal, even though it's really only worth 300,000 because we're going to write off $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
We do this. Our team does this for Fidelity Charitables. That is the largest nonprofit in the United States. And if it's good enough for Fidelity Charitables, who doesn't do their own real estate transactions either, it can be good enough for anybody else. So we want people to know this is legitimate tax law, and nobody here is trying to get one over on the government. It is what it is. This is how it works.
That's good.
So when they get the property evaluated, the specialized nonprofit looks at that and they will give them 2 net sheets. Here's what it looks like if you sell it outright, pay your taxes based on all your actual numbers and tax consequence.
Yep.
Here's what it looks like if you donate it and get your mortgage paid off or whatever their scenario is.
Yep.
And when they decide, yes, I want to donate this real estate, they and the specialized nonprofit go into a donation agreement. Has nothing to do with the nonprofit that's going to get the proceeds.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with the real estate agent. Donation is made to the specialized nonprofit with the agreement that when the property is sold and all expenses are reimbursed and paid off, this is what's going to happen with the proceeds. So everybody knows that up front.
Yeah.
Now that the specialized nonprofit has title and ownership, they are the seller. They hire the real estate agent at a full commission.
Yeah.
That's why we can guarantee a full commission, because we are the seller. I'm not the specialized nonprofit,
Right.
but they are our partners
Yep.
in how all of this works. So that's how it works.
Awesome. It's a great explanation that definitely explains and makes sense of how the whole thing works. I have one last question before we wrap up then. Is obviously this is only available in the States. Is there anything in Canada or any other countries out there, or do you have plans to move into that territory at all?
Eventually, we'll do our own research as far as how it works in other countries. What I can tell you is, if the real estate is owned anywhere in the world, Paris and condo,
Yep.
second home in Canada, anywhere, if it's owned by a United States-based taxpayer,
Right.
and they're going to have tax implications of that condo in Paris,
Yep.
then it's the same. The same thing still applies. Every country obviously has their own ways of doing this, but as the real agents of change are growing and being international,
Yep.
we share with people, look, whether your country has this specific tax law and ability or not, what we are suggesting is you show up as socially responsible. You be the one that is bringing new information to the nonprofits and to your clients, et cetera. You
Yep.
can even if you're in Canada, and even if the law isn't the same way there, you know a lot of people in the United States who have nonprofits that are benefiting people in Canada. In other words,
Yep.
we know people who are donating real estate in the United States on behalf of a nonprofit that's United States based, who are building schools in India.
Right. Yep.
So the spider web reaches out
Yep.
from the United States. Yeah.
Awesome. So we always wrap up with one last piece of advice. So if you're to give one piece of advice for people who are thinking about getting involved and making an impact in their community and being that agent of change, what advice would you give?
Join our Facebook group and learn about the real agents of change. We are the only ones you're going to get this information from. You can Google till the cows come home about charitable gifting of real estate. And you can certainly go out. You can take 1.5 years to learn about it like I did.
Yeah.
or you can just come learn about it from us. We boiled it down to exactly what's, and the way that I'm speaking it is layman terms.
Yep.
United States government said, hey, property owner, you get tax benefits. Look, there's codes and there's specific verbiage, and you can go through all that stuff, but why not just come to the people who've actually learned how it works?
Yep.
And you can now get involved in legacy listings as we are promoting the book that's coming out, as we are promoting the month that is becoming the awareness raiser for everyone involved. We are a community of visionary thought leaders who want to cultivate culture of collaboration. We don't understand competition. If you want to be in a group of people who wants to support you and give you ideas as to how your cause, your community, your career, and your company can grow from charitable gifting of real estate, we're it, bro.
Awesome. That's great. So we always wrap up with a last book. So what's one book you'd recommend that's made an impact in your life or you think would have an impact on our viewers' lives as well?
You know what, I've read a lot of books. Leaders are readers after all. And I am not going to be shameful about promoting legacy listings, real estate for real change. When I wrote this book, I sent it a couple of weeks ago to some friends whose opinion really matters to me. And I said, I've either just created a masterpiece that is going to help funnel billions of dollars to nonprofit and millions of dollars in commission to realtors, or I'm crazy and I need to rewrite it. And these people said, Cami, this is the missing link. This is what people need to read to understand, not just about charitable gifting of real estate, but how to leverage it.
Yeah.
So we have 5 steps. Learn, 1. Step number 2, lead generate. Step number 3, list and liquidate the property. Step number 4, leverage that you're doing it in the world. Step number 5 is leaving lasting legacy.
Yeah.
So this book goes through all the steps and explains exactly how you go from being reactive to proactive in letting people know, so that you're building resources and relationships and revenue with or without the actual donation itself.
That's awesome. And where can people find that then, the book?
TheRAOC.com is our website, and the book isn't even out yet. But if you go there, we are going to put up very shortly. You can get the first chapter for free for opting in, and you can learn about it as it comes out. So the RAOC, RAOC.com.
Awesome. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And we always wrap up with how people can connect with you. So if people want to find out more about the Real Agents of Change, get more ideas and information on what you're up to, how can people do that?
I like to say I'm real, I'm raw, I'm relatable, and I'm reachable. So Facebook is really easy. LinkedIn, texting, carrier pigeon, smoke signal, email, pretty simple. Cami at camibaker.com has always been and will always be my email. It's easy to find me there if you just have a question. If your real estate company would like to host a 30-minute info, if your nonprofit would like to sit in on a presentation to learn how you can get funded by the millions, that's what we're providing: information, education, and certification.
Awesome. So we'll put that in the show notes so people can check it out. So Cami, thank you for bringing your passion. You can definitely tell you are extremely passionate about this, knowledgeable, and want to see that change. And like the Gandhi saying, to be the change in the world. And you are being that change, which is awesome to see. And I hope that the viewers of this will be able to continue and pass that on to their community and give back and help serve the people that have been helping them so much. So thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate you sharing that wisdom and insight.
Well, thank you for having this show and for being a beacon of light for your community. We need more people like you who are generous in your giving of time, talent, and treasure. Thank you for who you're being in the world too.
Thank you. Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.